Good evening. Joanne here again, jumping on to do my weekly Monday night live on my investing journey. I do have to say, I almost forgot because it was a little bit of a very busy weekend for me with some friend visiting and traveling back home. I was up most of the night last night helping her pack and get to the airport and whatnot. And so it was only when I was chatting with a friend about goals and things I was like, oh yeah, the weekly Monday. I cannot go to sleep until I do this video. So here I am jumping on to share more about my tax-free savings investment journey, focusing on uh, dividend stocks and building tax-free wealth with dividend stock investing. So I'm going to keep this video pretty short. I hope my eyes don't look too wide. But what I wanted to do is I don't want to reinvent the wheel. There are lots of great resources out there. And I've already shared about this great book that I read several years ago, and I actually had my son read it over summer, and he started investing in dividend stocks and doing fantastic actually with the capital that he had. And so I really recommend this book. It's a great and simple read. You can get it as an audiobook as well. But I also put it in the show notes some of the great resources that I have used, and I'm going to try and share my screen to show you a few of those. So the very first one is that I really want to share one of my favorite channels here on YouTube that I've learned so much from. I think this lady is amazing, and I would highly recommend watching her videos, signing up for her newsletter. She has a free investment course that goes over some really great step by step, clearly explained process around the investing. She also has a few cheat sheets. So in the first couple emails where you sign up to her email list, she provides great resources, and then of course you can sign up for her actual introductory course on investing, which I did and I highly recommend. So that person is of course Canadian. Her name is Financial Nirvana Mama. I have her link in my show notes below, and I'm just showing you her video. I think she actually lives in Ottawa, such as myself. And of course, well, not of course, but she has definitely been investing, like actively taking action a lot longer than myself. And so, why invent the wheel? There's some really people who are further along the path than myself and perhaps yourself. And I find her content really well done. And I actually really like her as well because she's a mother like myself and she invests in real estate and stocks, which is similar to what I'm doing. But I think, of course, she's she's a lot further along than I am. All right, so that's one. Now, the other resource I wanted to share, which I actually got through her, so I've already shared with you the book. Through her, she introduced me to this site, which has a really great, sorry, I'm sharing. Let me share again. Which has a really great spreadsheet that I think they update on a monthly basis, where they and provide all the statistics on Canadian dividend stocks, and it's they call it the Canadian Dividend All Star List. And again, I have this link in my show note below. And I mean, again, why recreate the wheel? This is really well compiled. I've checked a few of the data points for a few of the shares, and I find the accuracy is there. And so, you can go in and sign up to be in their newsletter. And aside from the monthly emails out of, who's on the all-star list in terms of Canadian dividend stocks, of course, they also share other valuable content with their subscribers. So that being said, I just want to make sure that so I talked to you about the book. I I just want to share with you some of the great resources that Financial Nirvana Mama shared with me. Let me just come back here and share my screen again. So this is the email I got from her on the free investment course. And again, for the content that is there, of course, she has a more advanced course, but for the content she gives away free, it's really valuable. So I really want to encourage you and her emails are very on point. So let me just see. So once you sign up to her email list, you will get this in the first sequence of emails. So here is the where you create the free account and learn about investing in stocks for passive income. The other thing that I mentioned that she shared is some really great guides. And so through her, there is another email that she'll send shortly after you sign up, gives you a dividend growth guide. So her key tenets that I very much um, align with in terms of her approach, as well as an investment plan. So what's your goal, and why is that your goal, and then mapping that out. Um, and let me just see if I have anything else. And I talked to you already about the Canadian Dividend All Star. So it's a different organization, but I learned about that site through her. So the last thing I want to end on is just to highlight the stocks that I personally am looking at. I am focused on 10 stocks right now. Let me just share my screen again. Share my screen again. I am focused on 10 stocks right now. I'm looking for here we go. So here are the 10, because one of the key things that I've learned in terms of, choosing stocks, regardless even of the size of your portfolio, if you really want to get away from, using index stocks, or you're really quote unquote trying to beat the market or trying to have above average return compared to the market, then it's actually about holding a few stocks that you really understand rather than holding all these bunch of stocks that you only know a little bit. It's more about going deep on a few stocks, ideally companies that you know and use and you actually value their products, and then it's just about analyzing their financials to see if their balance sheet is strong, to see what are their plans for growing their business. Are they an early adapter? Are they spending money and innovative? Because in this day and age, for companies to really continue to deliver above average returns, they have to be progressive. They have to always be looking and developing, be it new tools or new ways to make their service or product sticky with their target market. So I have a list of 10. I haven't started investing as yet because I am, one, I'm building up a little bit of capital, and two, I like to get deals, and I don't think that anything's on sale right now. I want to buy when there's a sale, and I think there might be a sale coming up soon with the uncertainty of the U.S. elections and whatnot. So I'm just kind of sitting back to see if I can get a sale day happening in the quarter four of this year. But here's my list. So I have 10 on here right now. Um, there's Canadian Utilities, Fortis Inc., Imperial Oil, Metro Inc., Enbridge, CIBC, Dollarama, TD Bank, Loblaws, and Sun Life. And aside from Fortis Inc. and Canadian Utilities, I actually know and use all the other companies. So to Imperial Oil, that is Esso and whatnot, as far as I understand. So I personally love Esso and Mobil. I think they're actually my preferred gas stations. So I think of that. Metro, I here in Quebec, there's the Metro supermarkets, and I definitely shop there. Enbridge, I love Enbridge. Actually, when I was much younger and I didn't really fully understand a lot, my mother had my sister and I choose a couple of companies Actually, at the time, she got us to choose mutual funds, and she put a little bit of money in those mutual funds for each of us um, every month using the dollar cost averaging approach. And I remember specifically when I was trying to evaluate what mutual fund that I was going to invest in, I specifically chose Canadian utilities or utilities. I said to myself, people will always need electricity. They'll always need those utilities. So I'm going to invest in that. And I did actually really well with that investment. And I personally use Enbridge. Like, I'm a customer with Enbridge. I really like their interactions with me. I like their product. I like their business. So that's definitely one of my top ones. I've banked with TD since immigrating to Canada in, I won't tell you how long ago, but I've had a banking relationship with TD for a very long time. So that's another one of the companies that I really like. So you'll see that I have two companies highlighted in green in the list, and that's because those are the two companies that I think are likely to be the first ones that I invest in. I have banking with CIBC. I've banked with CIBC since I was a university student. It was my first credit card. They were on campus, and I signed up with CIBC on campus. They were the bank on campus, and they're my first credit card. And since then, I have always banked with them, and I still bank with TD. So actually, TD and CIBC are the only two mainstream banks that I bank with right now. I've definitely experienced quite a few of them. So I used to have some business with Bank of Montreal. I used to have some business with Scotia Bank as well. But I closed that down. I mean, I don't have anything significantly negative to say about either of those other two banks. I just like TD and CIBC, and so I've stuck with those two. Sun Life, I have that. They're the administrator of my corporate plan where I work, and I've definitely engaged with them. I feel as if I had maybe in my prior company that they were there as well. But they're definitely a company that I'm familiar with as well. And Loblaws, I love Loblaws. I love PC. I think I did a video on that in terms of their PC banking. If you're paying banking fees in this day and age for just regular checking accounts, like, there's no need. You should check out that video where I go over. I think I ended up reviewing four or five different virtual banks, and spoiler alert, I had a a preference for PC money. I still do. I find that for the money that I get, in terms of the points where I already shop at those stores, every month I earn $20 to $30 in points from just banking, doing my regular banking transactions with them. And that kind of return, as far as I'm concerned, in terms of the average balance that I keep with them, it can be beat. So anyway, just want to jump on today to kind of share a few of those resources, share the lists that I have, and sort of my two stocks. As I mentioned, my one of my sons read the book, and I gave him some capital over the summer to start investing. And it's really cool. I think it's a great thing. I mean, time is the most valuable thing that you have when you invest. And so, if I could just share one thing, is that if you could start now for your kids and engage them, you're going to put them so much further ahead. And so I was really happy that my son engaged in it. I had offered it to both of my older sons, and one of them engaged in it. And just recently, I'm like, "You're getting paid. You didn't do anything," because he's getting his dividend checks. He bought stocks with TD and with Amazon, and he's getting dividend checks. I'm like, "These checks looking really very nice, considering your investment." And of course, kind of side note, we'll get into it more. We automatically reinvest the dividends in the early stages because he doesn't need that cash right now. So we reinvest to buy more shares and then grow the dividends. It's just beautiful. So I'm really excited with the I'm debt free now, and I'm putting aside a little money every month through my paycheck into West Simple. and also putting in chunks as I save money. And I have, as I said, a few stocks. I showed you the 10, but I have alerts waiting for the price to get to a certain point, and then I'm going to go shopping because I like things on sale. And they're not on sale right now. I think the prices are too high. So anyway, just wanted to jump on and do this video to share a little bit more about my dividend stock investing adventures and hopefully encourage you to just get started. I don't have a lot of capital. I'm putting maybe $100 a month right now into Wealth Simple. When I got my son started in summer, I specifically gave him maybe $1,000, and I had to, put that aside. And you can see the title of this book. It says start with $50 and no investment knowledge. The most important thing is to start and start as early as you can. I think last point I will say, I shared I think in my last video where I talked about when my kids were young, where I really once you really understand the value of compounding and therefore the value of time, you will really just do something small for your kids when they're very young or babies. And even if you don't do anything else, but that's like, a stock or a mutual fund. I'm not necessarily keen on mutual funds. I like index funds if you're going to go mutual funds, but just getting it into play, getting it into action rather than sitting on the sidelines. It's a beautiful gift you can give your kids. And so for me, I had shared in the last video, each of my kids when they were born, within the first month, the very first thing I would do, aside from getting their birth certificates, was to get their social insurance number so I could just put a little bit aside into their RRSP. And actually, what I specifically did is any cash that I got from family as a contribution to me when the child was born, that would be what I would put into the RRSP. And I tried my best. I I can't say I did it well, but I know in the earlier years, whenever I got the child tax benefit, I would use that to put it into the RESP for my kids. So in the earlier years of their life, I was pretty consistent in investing. I have to say this year and even the last couple of years when I was going through my divorce and it was really expensive, I did put some in, but I wasn't as consistent. But since I've gotten the divorce settled this year, like this year, I kind of caught up and did a lump sum just to kind of really get back into it. But it's really the value of time and consistency. Anyway, so I wanted to jump on and do this video. I hope you enjoyed. I'd love for you to share with me some of the great resources that you're using. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. Let's share some great finds. I would love for you to share what stocks, if any, have you invested in that are perhaps your own dividend all star and how your portfolio has been growing. And then I will see you next Monday. Thanks for watching.